16-year-old Brianna Ghey wanted to be a TikTok star. Her life was taken away from her just as it was about to begin. Brianna was stabbed 28 times.
28 times?
Boy Y refers to Brianna, who was a transgender girl, as it throughout.
I don't want to wait. I just want her to die. I want to see pure horror on her face and hear her scream in pain.
The CPS said it was one of the most disturbing cases they had ever dealt with.
We miss Brianna so much, and our house feels empty without her laughter. To know how scared my usually fearless child must have been when she was alone in that park.
When you're in my stream, and if you ever meet me IRL, you're in a safe space. I accept you. It's literally nothing to me. Like, I love all of you, and know that you are loved, and that you can be whatever the you want to be in this life. Okay? Mwah! Shushi, please let me get one sniff. I'll donate $1 billion. Wait, get a sniff of what? My armpit? We are going to be first watching the case of Brianna Ghey. I'm sorry if I'm not saying that right. All right, so we're going to watch this one. It's from Sky News. Girl X and boy Y, who cannot be named because of their age, blamed each other for stabbing the 16-year-old to death in Linear Park in Culleith near Warrington. All right, let's watch this.
When Brianna Ghey left home on February the 11th.
Oh, God. It's Brianna Ghey. Sorry.
When Brianna Ghey left home on February the 11th, it was to be for the last time. An anxious teenager who rarely went out alone, she messaged her mum that day, "I'm on the bus by myself. I'm scared," she wrote. Her mum replied, "That's well good." She was proud of her, she said. That last message, though, the last Brianna's mum, Esther, ever sent her, it seems she never read. Because there were other plans that day.
Oh, yeah, this is the letter. Dude, yeah, the murderers wrote exactly what they were going to do on a piece of notebook paper. This is it.
The plans to kill Brianna, spelled out in this handwritten note, found crumpled on a bedroom floor, with a smiley face and a heart in the top corner, the date and the victim, and the details of how she'd be killed.
That's so weird.
How she'd be led to Linear Park in Culleith in Warrington, and what would happen when they got there. It was, the prosecution said, exactly what ultimately did happen.
On that Saturday afternoon, a couple were walking on this path when they saw two people bending over, they said, as if tending a dog. As they got closer, they realized it was, in fact, the bloodied body of a young woman, face down in the mud.
Jesus.
It was Brianna Ghey.
That's so traumatic for everyone. I don't know how I would react to like finding a dead body, dude. I genuinely think it would fuck me up pretty bad.
Stabbed 28 times. She was pronounced
28 times?
The court saw messages between her two killers in the weeks before, in which they discussed killing other children as well. They initially planned to kill Brianna 2 weeks earlier.
That's actually morbid.
The boy to say she's agreed to come to Culleith tomorrow. The boy replied, "So I bring my knife?" The girl said yes. "Is it definitely sharp enough, by the way?" The girl then sent a message to the boy saying, "Meet me at the wooden posts in Linear at 12. We'll go over plan again, and I'll show you where I'm killing her." And then we both walk to the library to meet her. And grab on to Brianna, slit her throat. When she starts to fall, stab her in the back. Then pass me the knife. I want to stab her at least once, even if she's dead, just 'cause it's fun. Lol.
See, I knew it. Whenever you see a case where like the amount of stabs, if it's just like a fuck ton, like a number that's so ridiculously high, like 28 times, usually it's because like the murderer or murderers took pleasure in it. They don't kill for like a reason. They just did it because of, I don't know, like they have like this morbid interest in like just like impaling something multiple times and seeing like the damage they can do.
Then said, "Let's have 2 words, one for getting the knife ready and another to stab." The girl replied, "For get knife ready, I'll look at you and cough, and to stab, I'll say gay." After Brianna's death, the girl posted this tribute, calling her an amazing friend. In fact...
Wait, what? So after they killed her, the girl that was stabbing her posted on her story, like, rest in peace, like, oh my God, such a good friend?
In fact, the court heard she and the boy were preoccupied with violence, torture, and death.
That thirst for kill from two 15-year-olds, that was really disturbing. We still do not know to this day why they've done it, what sort of led them to want to do it. Obviously now they've played on the fact that they thought it was a fantasy, but when you read those messages, it was quite clear that was a plan, that wasn't a fantasy.
Brianna was 16 when she died. The court heard that although she was born male, she was living, dressing and referring to herself as female. The girl who killed Brianna was fascinated by her. The boy referred to her as it.
Oh, no, yeah, see, it's transphobic. It was definitely, like, no, she was definitely a target of transphobic. Like, that's probably one of the factors that played into them, like, maybe, who knows, maybe they bullied her a little before this, maybe they, no, yeah, I'm pretty sure they did.
In the days that followed Brianna's death, dozens of vigils were held across the country in her memory. A teenager who thought she was just going to the park for the afternoon, but who instead met the most horrific of deaths. Greg Milam, Sky News.
That's so sad,
Brianna
dude.
was larger
The
than
thing is, I just can't imagine that. Getting stabbed is already bad. 28 fucking times. At some point, she was already dead. But that's what I'm saying. It's like people that continue to stab even after they're dead, even after their victim's dead. At that point, they're doing it for the sport. Like they're treating the person that they're stabbing almost like an experiment for their mind, for their own fucked up, twisted mind. Let's watch this one. This is from another news outlet, and it's only 6 minutes.
Funny, witty, and fearless.
Oh, we get to hear the mom speak.
16-year-old Brianna Ghey wanted to be a TikTok star. Her life was taken away from her just as it was about to begin by two teenagers, one she thought a friend. Today, her parents paid tribute to her as a jury at Manchester Crown Court found them guilty of murder.
We miss Brianna so much, and our house feels empty without her laughter. To know how scared my usually fearless child must have been when she was alone in that park with someone that she called her friend will haunt me forever.
And I know she was a beautiful girl to be proud of. I hate how her life has been brutally taken away from her, and she's been deprived of the life she wanted to live.
Because
Bro, I can't even imagine, bro, as a parent. Your kid was Brianna already said, like, in a text message to her mom, like, oh, I'm a little nervous. Like, she was probably, like, a little, like, socially anxious to, like, what did she say? To go on a bus alone and to travel and go out alone. So, like, I can only imagine, like, in that moment when she knew in her head, like, oh, like, I'm kind of fucked right now. Like, you're surrounded by you're in a park completely alone with two people, one of them being your so-called friend and the other like just some random dude, and you see them both with knives. That's what would get me as the parent. That's what would make me start crying. It's just the fear in my daughter's eyes right there in that moment, and I couldn't be there for her.
And she's been deprived of the life she wanted to live.
Because they were just 15 at the time of their crime, we can only call the defendants Girl X and Boy Y. The CPS said it was one of the most disturbing cases they had ever dealt with. The evidence was overwhelming. Police even found a murder plan in the girl's bedroom.
And it was, as the attack happened and as the lead-up happened with timings, what time Brianna would get off the bus, what time they would meet, what they would then do.
What, like, they put a fucking smiley face. What the fuck? They put little smiley faces right here and a heart on a note describing how they're gonna kill this innocent girl.
Meet, what they would then do. So it effectively summed up the plan and the attack.
The court was shown Brianna's last movement,
Damn, dude,
leaving the house on Saturday morning to meet Girl X.
The
who
last
she knew,
footage.
And Boy Y. who
This was
she
the last
never
day
even
she was
met.
alive.
Her mother told the court she
was
often
going to the
anxious
park
and
here.
rarely went out on the weekends. So when Brianna texted to say she was on the bus, she texted her back to congratulate her, telling the court she was really proud. It was this park near Warrington that Girl X and Boy Y lured Brianna to that Saturday lunchtime. The casual, almost flippant way with which they discussed killing her.
No, yeah, they do have the names of the murderers. They just, because they're under 18 or under 16, they can't reveal the names.
Was at odds with the violence of the attack, which the court heard was sustained and brutal. Brianna was stabbed 28 times. Her blood was found on a knife in Boy Y's room,
Fuck me.
as well as on his clothing and shoes. The court heard considerable force had been used to kill her. By the time she was found by a couple walking their dog, her injuries were unsurvivable. That couple saw 2 people standing next to her body, who then escaped across a field. When the trial opened, there was never any doubt that it was Girl X and Boy Y running away. Both said it was the other wielding the knife, that they never intended themselves to kill her, but their messages told a different story.
Fucking dumb. They tried to plead like dumbasses. They're like, oh, we actually didn't really intend to. It was because he actually had brung the knife out first. So like they were arguing about that. Dude, they literally wrote in a notebook planning beforehand that they are going to stab this girl.
They go from talking horror films, Sweeney Todd, and then
it's 100% premeditated
into it, and we go from murderous text messages to I'm busy having my tea, and then back to murderous intent again.
Girl X
they
even
pled
said,
guilty.
I love watching torture vids, real ones, on the dark web.
Brianna was one of 5 children they discussed killing, including another we're calling Boy.
That's always a red flag. I enjoy I'm so edgy. I love watching gore videos on the internet.
They had a real thirst for death and for murder, and we believe that they genuinely were set out and intent on killing someone. And as tragic as it was Brianna.
If we can't get E tomorrow, we can kill Brianna.
Yeah, it'll be easier.
Let's stab her. Original E plan. Back and throat. She's agreed to come to Cultchith tomorrow.
So I bring my knife.
Police say that Brianna's anxiety and isolation made her particularly vulnerable. Boy Y refers to Brianna, who was a transgender girl, as it throughout. When he delays the murder date, Girl X says,
I don't want to wait. I just want her to die. I want to see pure horror on her face and hear her scream in pain.
Police were confounded not only
the girl murderer isn't saying it, but I'm telling you, like her being transgender was a big role in them targeting her. They're not saying it, but I mean,
age of the defendants and the lack of motive beyond a desire to kill, but by their steadfast belief they would get away with it. Girl X even posted a Snapchat tribute to Brianna.
I know people sat at home watching this, or
Girl X
will have this sort of image that they'll build themselves, but actually they're both really clever kids, very bright, very articulate. Even throughout the evidence, we've seen how they come across. But I think their downfall has been their confidence or arrogance around the fact that they thought that it could take another human life, and then thought that would be no comeuppance for them.
The alibi concocted by Girl X that Brianna had left them to meet a boy from Manchester didn't stand up to scrutiny. When faced with the overwhelming evidence, the teens turned on each other.
Prior to the trial, I had moments where I felt sorry for the defendants because they had ruined their own lives as well as ours. But now knowing the true nature and seeing neither display an ounce of remorse.
Oh no, yeah. Imagine how the parents feel at this point after seeing all the text messages and the letter by the murderers. Dude, they were even coming up with code to signal each other when to bring out the knife and when to murder.
But what they have done to Brianna, I have lost all sympathy that I may have previously had for them. And I am glad that they will spend many years in prison and away from society.
The judge, Justice Yip, said she'd have to impose a life tariff when sentencing them in the new year. Brianna's mother asked people to be considerate of Girl X and Boy Y's families, saying they too had lost a child. Their parents wept in court as the verdict was read.
She's so like kind and empathetic too, the mom. It's easy to and also valid to being, very, very angry and rageful, having like your daughter killed. But like she's still expressing empathy for the parents of the murderers because, yeah, imagine if you raised a child and then your child ended up murdering another fucking kid. How would you do? Like, holy crap.
Hundreds congregated to remember Brianna. Her mother, Esther, said she'd grieve over Christmas, then carry on campaigning
she's really
for better
strong.
mental health for teens next year. The legacy of her daughter, who struggled with anxiety, but who lived her life without fear. She said Brianna wanted to identify as female and that she'd wanted to wear girls' uniform, something that wasn't a hurdle for her. She just did it. She was, she said, who she wanted to be.
Nah, bro, rest in peace, like, actually. It wasn't expressly said, at least not from, like, the videos that we just saw, in the letters, like, saying, like, oh, yeah, we're gonna kill her because, like, she's a he, like, or yada, yada, yada. The closest thing we get to the letters actually explicitly saying, like, we're gonna kill her because she's trans, the boy murderer said that he referred to her as it. To Brianna as an it. So that's like the first sign right there, the first clear sign that it's transphobic. The main thing I want to say to you guys is that I understand, like, with cases like this, when you hear cases like this, I understand why, like, you guys, I don't know if I have any trans viewers, I understand, like, why you'd be afraid to, like, kind of make yourself, or to just be yourself physically to the world, to let it be known that you are, you know, you're trans, like, because you might get reactions like this, like, violent, and in some case very rare. I'm not trying to scare you even more by saying this happens like fucking every day, everywhere, but nonetheless it still happens. So I completely understand, like, why you'd be afraid to come out and to express yourself and to, like, affirm your gender, like she did, like Brianna did, by transitioning. You have my full support, my full empathy. When you're in my stream, and if you ever meet me IRL, you're in a safe space. I accept you. It's literally nothing to me. Like, I don't give a fuck. I love all of you, and know that you are loved and that you can be whatever the fuck you want to be in this life. Okay? Mwah!